All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's Brock Bowen. I'm back again with another conversation for the quantum movement. Today, we're here with Melissa Crump. And Melissa, tell us where you are today and a bit about what you're up to in life right now.
I live on Thursday Island, which for some people that don't know, it's in between mainland Australia and Papua New Guinea in the Torres Strait. And I'm up here working as a nurse.
Yeah, wow. How'd you come about doing that?
I was living on the Gold Coast and I did a secondment up here. So you just transfer hospitals and came here for 3 months, loved it. A permanent job came up, was too good to say no to. And I'm still here like 16 months later.
Yeah, wow. I love those different things. I was speaking to one of my friends, Chloe, and she's a nurse too. And she loves working in the remote communities. She's worked in Sydney. She's worked in Melbourne. She's had a career in Perth. But I think the thing she loves the most is the communities. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good community up here. They're like really friendly and get to go out in the boat and go camping and fishing and it's awesome.
I've heard great things. One of my life goals is to actually go and sit in a circle with some of the Indigenous men. And when I was up in Port Douglas, there's a guy up there named Kazi. He does this coconut oil brand. And anyway, with him, he's basically said the next time I see him, I'm about to get invited. So I'm kind of scared and excited at the same time. But yeah, it's fun. But yeah, it's cool to hear about all those things. But yeah, today I want to talk about quantum movement. So how did you come to hear about this? I'm always curious the backstory, all these different ways that people come to hear about what we're up to here.
Yeah. Through Justine, we both work at TI Hospital together.
Yeah, sure.
And, Justine was already doing the course and had told me a little bit about it, and it kind of just fell into my lap at, I guess, the right time. It was, what I needed. And, I was, I guess like everyone sort of tossing up whether that's what I really wanted to do. But, I just decided to.
Just lost you for a second there, but I'm back again. I'm not sure what happened with our internet, but we'll make sure it continues to work. I just lost you for a second. But yeah, tell me a bit about Jason. Jason's a big part of the quantum movement. Obviously, he's the guy that's developed all this. Now the team's starting to grow. But tell me a bit about Jason, his personality, different things about that. What you found interesting.
Jason's been wonderful. He's just a wealth of knowledge is probably the best way to describe him, I would say. He's very approachable. He's obviously busy with everything that's going on, but he always makes the time to message you back or give you a call or an audio file or whatever it is in order to answer your questions and give you the time that you need in order to develop your understanding further. So, my experience has been really positive with Jason.
I love that now as the team grows, we want to make sure we keep that, kind of like TI, keep that community where it feels small and you're connected and all that sort of thing. Yeah, it's so important. I've had, build a great relationship with Jason too. And it's fantastic. So say you were talking to a spouse, a friend or a family member, just about what we're up to at Quantum Movement. What would you say?
I have explained it to a few people. I went down to the Gold Coast recently and told a few friends what I was doing. And I guess the best way I've described it is that it's helping me get in touch with who I really am, to become who I am, to realise my truth, to remove or be at ease, I guess is the better word, all the bullshit and the stories and things that we tell ourselves in our head or things that we relate to or hold on to from the past and things. And so I sort of think of it as like Shrek, like the onion layer, like you're peeling back the layers of the onion to find like your true self. So, yeah.
Just like the story of Shrek. I love it. It's cool. It's kind of fun. I got a 6.5 month baby boy and I know I'm going to be watching lots of those little movies. I already started to pull a few out. It's quite fun.
They're the best. Cartoons are fun.
So I love it. I've always been about that. Like, how do we access more of ourselves? So many times you see people and their version of success, they go and copy someone else. And, you know, even if they do hit what success is, it doesn't really seem to be quite fulfilling. So yeah, it's lovely to hear, you know, that feedback. But what were you like before? You know, you said you're working as a nurse on the Gold Coast. Now you're up on TI. You heard about this from a lady named Justine. What was going on for you before?
I probably didn't realise how bad a space I was in at the time that the course came along. I have spent a number of years like doing work on myself, whether it be with psychologists or doing meditation or things like that. So the concept of work, like doing things for myself and dedicating time to myself and becoming more aware, that wasn't new to me. But I was definitely in a place where I wasn't doing any of that anymore.
Sure.
But things that I'd tried or done previously, especially like the psychologist, for instance, I guess I felt like I'd gotten to a point where I was stagnating, and I wasn't. What we were going over was the same things. I wasn't learning any new tools, but I still felt stuck. So I guess that for me, that's why this has been such an amazing experience, and I've had something on the weekend that's really sort of just brought everything. I don't know if I'd call it fast forward, but I feel like I'm starting to notice and see the difference. But it's what was I going to say?
Yeah, tell me about the weekend. What were you going to say? You had something that occurred over the weekend. Do you want to go into that or not really?
It was just a massive, for me, it was that I had a massive trigger occur on the weekend, which just made me realise like I was questioning myself, like, am I listening to myself properly? What am I doing? And realising that I had a choice. I could choose to go one way and trust someone, because that's probably one of the things that I've struggled with.
Yeah.
Or go the other way and continue down the path, which I've been many times before in not trusting. So, yeah, it was big for me. And it also, at the time, whilst it was going on, I had thoughts to call Jason and just clarify, like, is this, I don't know if this is my ego or this is this or that. And in the end, I just understanding, and maybe I still have questions and things like that from it. But yeah, it was just rewarding. I don't know if that's the right word. It was just nice to be able to deal with something so big and be able to deal with it in such a calm manner. And it did make me realise that I am my own power. Like, I am the person that is going to change my life. Like, it's up to me to choose. And Justine and I were talking about this morning because she'd posted something I saw, and it's about making a choice and taking action. And yeah, they're probably the biggest things I learned over the weekend, is you need to make a choice, and once you make that choice, then you act in that direction. So yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, it's been good. So at the time, I'm also, because it was also quite difficult, and I noticed a bit of resistance coming up, and I'm like, oh, I'm not doing this course anymore. This is like, what is it doing to my life? Like, look what's going on. But over the course of, I don't know, 24 hours or whatever, I've now come back to being like, no, this is actually really good. I want to spend the time on myself, and I want to keep moving through. I know there's going to be triggers that come up in future that I'm going to need to deal with, but I guess the weekend was a huge one for me to go through, know that I can do it and I can work through these things. Yeah,
for sure. Just touching on what you were going through before too, you were saying, you know, you've done other things and then you kind of get a bit stuck or not continue the practices. And now it seems like you're making the choices and continuing on, but it also sounds like you've been a little bit triggered and potentially confronted. So how are you managing to move through those things? where you previously wouldn't? What's the difference?
I realised one thing, like we've got the journal, and the question, where the questions, having it set out in the set questions is different. I have typically journaled in the past, and I have felt that does help. But I guess listening to Jason talk about the journal too, is just trying to be consciously aware whilst I'm actually writing, because sometimes and yeah, I guess being a bit, because there's the process. Like if I'm somewhere, like I was at work when the trigger occurred, so I needed to finish what I was doing at work. But I've tried to incorporate ways of doing the process whilst I'm still at work, and I just use different techniques, but it allows me to do it whilst I'm still with patients or things like that. I can't always just run off.
Sure.
So doing things like that to do something on the spot. And then when I do have the opportunity, like I did on the Friday night, I was like, okay, that's enough of work. I can now dedicate this time to myself. And so, yeah, just being really conscious of setting time aside for myself. I was quite overwhelmed with all of it initially.
Yeah.
Now, like I'm going through the course a lot slower than perhaps is suggested, but I'm okay with it. I'm doing it at a pace that I can tolerate and that I can manage in my life with other things that I need to do. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, being at ease with that.
I love that, hearing about people being at ease with different things. And even when I'm listening, I'm curious about what difference it'll make long-term on places like TI. Long-term in places such as the medical system, where people can be quite stressed and overwhelmed and frazzled because of the environment. And, potentially, not even potentially, but I'd imagine when people are in a state of ease, they're going to make better decisions.
Yeah.
It's quite cool to see that, going through these different environments. But when you think about some of the results, that you've been doing this for a little while now, what are some of the results that might have been impossible for you before, be it around decision-making or particular things that you might have created or circumstances that you've managed that would have previously toppled you? Has there been any specific things that have arisen?
I think what happened on Friday, because it was such a huge trigger for me, I was actually surprised at how calm I was. Like I went through stages of hurt and anger and the normal emotions that you have when with what I was dealing with. But I've somehow maintained I don't know, it was almost a peacefulness. It wasn't quite that zen, but yeah, I was definitely a lot calmer, and I was able to, when I was having the conversation, like dealing with the issue, I was able to realise when I'd then start to go into my ego and be reacting in my head.
Yeah, sure.
Bring myself, I'm like, no, stay present to what's actually happening. Which I guess made me more able to respond appropriately and to what was being said. But also, I've just noticed, like, in terms of taking action, like, so that the issue with my partner on the weekend, and we discussed it with you, and it actually worked in my favour, and it ended up bringing out conversation about so many other different things, and it we were both vulnerable, and it worked in both our favours. We were like learned a lot about each other, and sort of our relationship grew as a result of all of it, which was awesome. But I also realised at the end, when something else still came up, rather than not ask about it, I just asked. So when that question, like just realising when the questions come up and just being like, okay, just ask the question. So, and I guess now, since the weekend too, I've kind of, in the last 2 days, and this was Justine and I were talking about this morning also, I've noticed that I have if I noticed something come into my head that I'm like, that doesn't really serve me, then straight away, and it's been because I've been at work, so straight away I'll sit there and just visualize like the hollow tube and sort of that energy like leaving, and I've been able to do that immediately, which has been nice. So yeah, that's what I mean. I can start to see like the habitual sort of patterns starting to form. I know I've still got, I'm only up to week 4. I've still got some work to do, but I will get there.
That's the joy of it, though. I mean, it's all a work in progress for anyone. And I think the thing I notice, I'm doing these conversations with people a bit, and I notice people start to have a bit more of a glow or a bit of a glint in their eye. And I travel a lot, and, you know, when I travel, I see 1,000 people, but then one person stands out. And that's what I'm curious about, you know, when I said, you know, in terms of being a nurse and how you show up in that environment, I'm sure other people are noticing already. And it'd be interesting just for you to have that little, like, just to pay attention to that, not look for it, not need it, but I'd just be curious to see how that transpires. But next, I want to know what kind of shifts have you seen in your thinking? When you think about, you know, your relationships, your relationship to your work, just contemplating different things, journaling, what's changed there?
Probably the biggest thing, like I said before, is I'm noticing or I'm recognizing that I am my own power, that is going to get me through anything that I have to go through. And I guess having that confidence in myself to know that I can do it. I have noticed the external relationships change, and one in particular has been with someone at work that we haven't really gotten along for the last few months, and literally in the last probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 days, there's just been a shift in the energy between us, and we're actually talking and interacting and organising like the Christmas party on the weekend and things like that. So it was, I was just like, oh my God, what's going on here? But even just like what I need to do day and things like that, where I would normally be like, oh yeah, there's some social event I've been invited to, and I know I had the course or something that I was going to do for this, and I'm like, I'll pick what I have to do for myself. Sure. Especially if I know that that's exactly what I need, rather than where probably before I would have been doing it as a bit of an avoidant thing. Yep. Then I would spend that time and be like, no, I'm not going to go out for dinner or whatever it might be. I'm going to do what I need to do for me. So it's me not missing out on a few things, which for me is a big deal because I don't like missing out. Yeah, of course. But yeah, it's what I need to do. It's what's best for me. So that's been huge.
Yeah, that's awesome. Next thing I want to know is has there been anything else that you can't really explain? You know, that lady that you used to have a challenge with, and now you're not besties, but you're doing life together. That's a bit unexplainable because you probably haven't really changed how you interact. It's just, is there any, just contemplate that for a second. Has there been anything else that you've noticed that you can't really explain, but there's change for you? Just curious. It may not be.
Yeah.
That one's cool though.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, this one's probably a big one, and it's a different person, so it could just be that that's who I've now attracted. But I sort of put it down to the time and effort that I put into myself, and because I am becoming more at ease with me and things that I've probably rejected about myself, I've added in an extra step into the process for myself. Sure. Something Jason suggested, and I've found it's really helped. And so after I do the quantum source energy, the solid tube, I do a self-love tube. And
awesome.
Yeah, so for me, it's been about, just loving those parts of myself that I've typically not liked or not wanted to admit. I've been in relationships before where people, I guess particularly intimate relationships more so, where people have rejected those things, and it's because I was obviously rejecting it, and now I'm finding that because I'm starting to accept it, the relationship I'm in now, they're accepting it, and they're like happy to work through those issues, and they have their own stuff like everyone does, and so we're both on that same sort of page of being accepting of what each other brings to the table.
Yeah, I love that.
So that's been huge.
Yeah. I love seeing that. My fiance started doing the program recently, and it's been wonderful for us. You know, obviously we'll include the little baby soon as he gets a bit bigger, but we'll already include him in the energy, and it's just so nice. I talk about having frank conversations where whoever you're with, you can just basically say what's on your mind or your heart to talk about, and it's such a refreshing way to live.
Yeah.
So good. But now, next I want to know, have you had any different, like, in terms of your energy levels or your health or any, I mean, like Christy, my fiance, has won some prizes and stuff since we've been doing this. Has there been any other things that you might have noticed? How's your energy levels? Better or worse? Different?
Yeah, energy's definitely better. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. Yeah, energy's better, so that's definitely a bonus.
Yeah, it's cool. I've not met you before, but I can see you've got that glow, which is cool too. Like, even I'll tune into people energetically as well, and it's just fun to get a feeling of what's going on. And you know, the fun thing is, it's a bit of a vulnerable place when we can all feel what's going on within ourselves and other people. Yeah, because then everyone just knows everything about it. You can just tune into me, and I can tune into you, and then we don't need to talk.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful place to be, but you know, it seems like the scariest place, the scariest thing to do in this life is be ourselves. And you know, to hear you being more you in your life, in your business, or not business, in your relationship, in these different things, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, that's super cool. Well, if you were to share this with anyone, you wanted to say anything before we finish up for today, what else would you like to say at the end of this conversation?
I don't know. Be who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Spend the time to get to know who you are and to love. Probably that's the biggest thing. I'm sure there's plenty of other people out there who have struggled to love parts of themselves too. And for me, that's probably been the greatest advantage I'm finding so far, is just that I'm coming to terms and accepting the things about myself that I've typically rejected. So like if you just take the time to love who you are, then I don't know, life just works.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you won't have challenges, because that's just but you'll be able to deal with them. You'll be in a better head, I guess, to see it. I really liked what Lauren said the other week, actually, about seeing things as opportunities, and starting to sort of rewire that thinking. So
I love Lauren. I get to spend a bunch of time with her, and we obviously live nearby to each other. She's just moved down from the mountains down to the coast, and so we get to catch up at least once or twice a week, and super cool. Just, I mean, for everyone watching, Lauren's a lady who is quite a world-regarded extraterrestrial expert. So she goes a whole lot deeper in terms of the stuff she's into, and I mean, her story is fascinating. But she's an amazing part of what we're doing here at Quantum Movement, as are all of you guys. And I just love it. Like I said, that community that's supportive but also challenging one another. And I want to say that too. A lot of people say to you, go and be yourself, but then they don't. A lot of people go and love yourself, but then you go, well, how do I do it? And it's what I love more and more, hearing people when they've actually got not just the tools, but a simple way each day to actually start to put themselves first. And not at the exclusion of others, but to put themselves first in a way that it just really resonates with other people. And to hear that that's showing up for you, you know, even at work or in your relationship and different things, it's good for me too, you know, sharing this with more people. It's fantastic to have these conversations. And for you guys watching, I appreciate you taking the time to watch this and tune in with us. Melissa, I look forward to when we do get to meet in person. And just fun. I always just do it when I do these conversations. I go, I'll see you soon, and somehow we'll bump into each other at some point. Maybe I'll be skateboarding through somewhere, whether it's TI or somewhere else. But I do travel quite a lot with what I do. So, yeah, appreciate you taking the time to connect in today. And yeah, look forward to everything that you experience moving forward.
Great. Thank you for inviting me to do this.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. They're great fun, right?
Been great, and nice to meet you through the video, Brock.
Oh, it's cool. Come bring it in. Oh.